Boy everyone, MARKCHES here. Welcome to the channel, and for today's video, I'll be comparing the top of line sneaker from Serious Player Only, which is the Player One Plus, and of course, also its counterpart from the Way of Wade languages, the 808 3 Ultra and the regular ones too. So let's find out the major differences between these three sneakers and which one will be for you. Let's go. So guys, these are the latest ones from this top Chinese brands that are really breaking the barrier from the biggest shoe company to the newcomers. And these sneakers are, I would say, the most saleable amongst the consumers because of how it performs. These three sneakers have, of course, the drop-in midsole tech, which is, of course, the whole midsole. And I have one viewer commented in a video of mine that they thought that this is an insole. So insole is a little bit different. I'll grab a sneaker with an insole. So this one, the All-City, has an insole. So an insole is this. It's this thin. But a drop-in midsole insole is they don't have this. But what we have is the full-length foam or the cushion of the sneaker. So this is just a sock liner where you put it on top of not a drop-in midsole like the All-City 11, which has the cushion here already fixed in the sneaker, while on Serious Player Only Player One Plus, it's a drop-in midsole. As you can see, it's a drop-in, and once you remove it, the shoe becomes really hollow, so you can really bend it because there's no foam in here. So that's what's nice about the Game One too, because even though you can use this drop-in midsole from the Serious Player, this one, the regular ones, the light, the Evan light, and the midsole support, is even though if you remove that from the Game One Plus, it still has a small layer of EVA foam, which will give more cushion, especially for those players who likes more cushion like me, that still is very responsive. So that's a different topic we'll discuss in a different video. But right now, a lot of people have been asking me compare the Player One Plus between the 808 3, which is the newest one from the 808 line, and this is the regular one. So the regular ones, the main difference is the materials are less premium compared to the Ultras, which has like a more like a flywire tech to the upper with a bit more details on the materials on the upper. But on the regular ones, it has the screen mesh upper with some textile mesh on some parts. So mainly more premium materials on the Ultras, plus of course the carbon fiber shank on the bottom, and this carbon fiber on the lateral part, which is, I think, mostly just for aesthetics, but it hugs your foot the same with the regular ones. And the difference between the Plus is it has a carbon fiber shank like the Ultras, but the upper is made out this dual material, which is fused with these fibers. I don't know how to call this pattern, but it's really nice because once you use them, you don't need that much break-in time. Plus around the forefoot area, you can see these thread parts. I chose this colorway so that you can really see that there are straps here for support, lateral and medial part of the sneaker. And when you crank up the laces, it really hugs your foot really nicely, especially around the forefoot part, to prevent you from having slippage laterally. So that's the main difference. And in terms of thinness, I would say all are very thin, but the material on the Ultras, although it's more premium, it's kind of harder on the foot because it's kind of Ultras. It's pretty nice too, but what's really stands out on the Plus is, of course, that strap in the forefoot, plus this threads that goes all around, so it acts up like also small straps all around the sneaker, and it hugs your foot really well. And it's still very thin. Ventilation is, I would say, very good on these three sneakers. And moving on to the tongue part, both have very nicely padded tongue. And I would say I like the regular ones and the Plus better than the Ultras, because the Ultras really thin compared to these two. I think they really want to lessen the weight on the Ultras, but in doing that, it doesn't have that much cushion, and I would feel that when I was really cracking up the Ultras. And even here on this ankle part, where if you're wearing on non-basketball socks, which are really thin, like the Nike Crew socks, it will dig into your foot a bit, and also the regular ones, which you wouldn't feel on the Player One Plus because it has more foam around here. But this too is a bit sharper around the edges, so it tends to dig on your ankle. So one fix that I did was I wear the Series Player One socks. Their Crew socks is really good. It's like an NBA Pro socks with a lot of padding on the right parts, like around your foot bone, on the ball of your foot. It has a very nice padding there, even on the bunion side, on the lateral part, to prevent you from having that bunions. And of course, around the ankle, it kind of wraps around the ankle, those padding. So if you can buy the Series Player socks, it's really good for if you're playing basketball at a high level, and especially on warm countries like the Philippines, where your skin will thin up because of the heat and the humidity. You would like those types of socks that would remove the sweat at the same time, protect the most important parts with the paddings around the sock. So you should try them. Now moving on to the back part of the sneaker, on the heel part, I like the Achilles pillows on the Ultras. Then on the regular ones, they have nice thick paddings around the heel. But even though the Plus doesn't have that much padding, but it also has, but I wish that they would add a little bit more padding here. But I didn't have any heel slippage here because of the shape of it. It has a very nice shape to it, but I would like a bit more comfort around the Achilles for a better comfort feel around the heel part of the sneaker. Now let's move on, of course, to the tech. If you watch my previous video, I've done this comparison between the cushion of these three, of course. So the cushion of these three sneakers are, of course, the Plus comes with the light. This is the light, and this one, which is the regular ones, which has the ETPU piece on the ball of your foot for more bounciness and impact protection, and also on the heel it's there. And if you want a really low to the ground feel, you would like this Evanon Light. It's like an EVA, very similar to the Lunar Lawns that are found in Kobe's. If you like that, you can use this. So that comes in the entire box of the Player One Plus, which I think is really nicely done in terms of customization of the player and what type of player you are. If you want to be very responsive, if you want more cushion, Player One Plus will give you that option. And if that's not enough, they have a new one, which is of course this explosive midsole, which is a whole ETPU piece, and this is my favorite. But comparing it to the Boom midsole found in the Ultras, which is also an ETPU version, but comparing these two, it has a different density. This feels to have more bounce, more impact protection because it's thicker, and there's a hole here on the heel part of this one on the Ultras. And I think it would be better if they didn't put a hole here, similar to what they put here on the regular ones. And I like the drop-in of the regular ones more. This is the Cloud, I think, yeah, this is the Cloud foam from Way of Wade. And this one has no holes here on the heel. which I think would be better on this drop-in boom midsole if they made it like this regular ones, which has more impact protection on the heel, because you really feel very low to the ground with this one for the Ultras, even though this is a boom cushion, because it doesn't have the right thickness to it. It will prevent your foot to have that very nice impact protection because of the mass of the energy that will be caught by the midsole, because the midsole isn't that thick, so there won't be that much energy return, if you get what I mean. Not like the explosive ones, because when you put your weight on it, because there's a big mass of foam on the explosive, it will return that back to your foot, and it really feels very comfortable. And if you want additional support, they also have this sole support from Serious Player Only, which also has those pods here, but what's added is of course this plate for extra support torsionally and a little bit more spring back, and this feels awesome too. So comparing all this midsole, I would suggest if you want more cushion, a lot of bounce, you could get the explosive and put it on the Player One Plus, and it's still very responsive. Don't worry that you would experience delay. No, there's no delay to it. And they also have this sock liner already so that your foot won't move around the midsole, and this graphic is actually rubber for extra friction so that your foot won't move anywhere in the shoe, and even on the bottom part. This yellow part also grips on your sneaker if you replace it with different types of sneaker from Serious Player. So could you fit this explosive on the 808? And the answer is yes. It can be a little bit tight depending on the size, because the size of the midsole is actually bigger than my pair, so it tends to crunch up right now. But if you get the right size to it, I think you could pull it in if you want a better cushion to the 808. But the only concern there is it will be a little bit higher, so the fit on the heel won't be that as good if you use the midsole that came with the Ultras, because it's, like I said, it's really thin. I think you could use this Avalon Light and put it on the Ultras and the regular ones, because this is a lot thinner compared to the explosive and the midsole support. So if you have the Player One Plus, you could switch it up if you have the 808 Ultras or the regular ones too. But again, of course, the fit won't be the same. It won't be really like one-to-one. But for me, I was able to still play with them. So it really depends on your foot shape too. Now moving on to the traction of these three sneakers. There's like wave patterns on the Ultras, similar to the regular ones. While on the Player One Plus, it has that zigzag. The runaway winner will be the Plus. Look how thick the traction of the Plus is. And if you play with the Plus in the indoor court, the traction is amazing. It squeaks, it grips really gnarly on the wooden floor. While on the regular ones and the Ultras 8083, they still grip really nicely, but I wouldn't recommend it that much for outdoor courts because the treads are not that thick, so they can rip easily. But the price difference between the 8083 and the Player One Plus is huge right now because of, I think, they over manufactured the 8083. But for me, if you want a dependable traction, indoor, outdoor, the Player One Plus will give you that if you just want one shoe. As for the sizing of these three sneakers, go true to size. And comparing these three sneakers, I would say the runaway winner for me is the Player One Plus because of how customizable the Serious Player company is right now, that you can interchange and upgrade your midsole with all their models right now. And that's such a nice thing to have options like a better fit for your feet. So really nice that they gave us a lot of midsoles from Serious Player Only. While the 8083 is not that bad either, but like I said, for me, it's too close to the ground, especially the Ultras. I like playing with the regular ones more compared to the Ultras midsole. So because this one has a boom cushion in the forefoot where you need your bounce, and around the heel is a little bit thicker compared to the ones on the 808 Ultra. Look at how thin the Ultras are. So those are things you could consider before buying the sneakers. As for the weight, Player 1 Plus in my size, US 11, is 400 grams. The regular 8083 is 420, and the Ultras, 8083 Ultras, all in the same size, is 440. So this is the heaviest one because I think there's a lot of plastic piece all around the sneaker. Don't know where the weight is coming from, but it's mostly, I think, this piece here. This is a whole plastic piece here, so it's a little bit heavy, and the materials on the upper feels heavier, and even this heel cup is a bit heavier compared to a more subtle heel cup on the Plus, and the regular ones doesn't have that entire thing covering the heel, so that's why this one's a little bit lighter compared to its big brother. So let me know which one is your preference from these three. Hit me a comment down below. Hopefully I help you out, guys, in choosing which one to buy. So let me know your pick in the comments section below. So this has been MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by this channel. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.